so well. All right. Wow. Well, now that it's 4:35, welcome to the Weekly Claw. 2 stories this week. Oh, man. 2 stories this week. Yesterday, Moonshot dropped Kimi K3, 2.8 trillion parameter open weight model that apparently benchmarks near the best closed models at a fifth of the price. And the biggest AI conference of the year just told 6,000 engineers that their job is no longer writing software. It's building the loop that builds the software, cheap frontier intelligence, and the loops that run it. And later in the show, Henry does demos Vorflux AI live. And we've got Haritha from Vorflux here to take your questions. So that's the episode. Let's go. Oh, haha. Weekly Claw is brought to you by Herald Labs, an applied AI product lab where humans and agents build products together. They're in the team behind Entity, mission control for agent teams, and they run hacker houses around the world where builders ship actual work. So this is not a theory club. Build, don't talk, and check them out at labs.theherald.co. Henry, tell us what happened this week.
Yeah, obviously we started talking about it. Just run real quick. Quick point again. OpenAI had some fiasco with so just like going in YOLO mode and deleting people's files. I experienced a little bit of that when he deleted my 100 gig model because I said sever instead of serve, and like he couldn't figure out he should serve it, and then he went and deleted the whole model. Okay, interesting. So I definitely agree that it's trigger happy. And how did that? So immediately did that. I mean, there's a bunch of skills, and I would probably find it before the end of the show and put in the chart. But there is a bunch of skills that install hooks in your agents and your your codecs and so on and so forth, that whenever your agent wants to do destructive activity, RM-RF, the skill prompts it. It's a hook. It triggers a hook that prompts it to really think about it before it deletes it. So a couple of us in the community have that because I know a few of us said to me, I have that already. So I had to install that skill. And in the threads I read, people were being advised to install that skill. So if you don't have that skill, if you're using 5.6, please go and look for that skill that installs the hook that prevents your agent from doing any destructive activity. But like I also said, OpenAI has gone ahead and tried to solve this. They have prevented you from using ultra mode when you're on full mode. They have put up a really big red banner whenever you're on full mode to say, hey, this is going to really, this might endanger your files, so be careful. And they're working on it. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, OpenAI launched a model, or they kind of did an internal tool called GPT-RED. That is a red teaming agent that helps them do, jailbreaking and find issues in their model, right? And then moving on to open source, I started talking about Mira Murati's company. I was giving some backstory on who she is and why everybody thought her company was going to fail because all the big talent she had in her company left the company. And but it looks like the tide is turning. They launched a model called Inkling. Inkling is the best, is currently the best American open source model. It is first now, and Nemotron is second. Another cool thing about Inkling is the second best open weight multimodal model. Only second to Mimo 2.5. So GLM 5.2 is in multimodal. The previous Minimax Minimax 3 is in multimodal. DeepSeek is in really multimodal. I don't remember. I have Flash, but I don't remember if it's multimodal.
It's not.
Yeah, cool. So they're not multimodal. Yeah, they're not multimodal. But then Queen is small. The biggest. I know Queen has a bigger model too. Yeah. Okay. Cool. The only not frontier, but the best multimodal model out there now that is open weight is Mimo 2.5, and Inkling is just second to that. It's just under it in the benchmark. So it's a really good model. But here's why she launched that model, right? We talked in the show last week. I think it was in the kind of like hot takes, and me and you were kind of like doing the back and forth around whether the models will win versus like scaffolding, whether the scaffolding is the main thing versus the model. So Satya did an article this week, doubling down on what Cap said 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Cap, came out and said, hey, listen, if you're an enterprise, don't buy this bullshit like safety that like these labs are selling. The safety you should care about is the safety of your business and your IP. And if you use this frontier models and you give them all your data, you're going to be having a very unsafe business because they're going to copy your business and you're going to go out of business. So that's the only safety you need to care about. In short words, that was basically what Cap said. And then Satya doubled down on it this week. He wrote an article on it again this week. And so Mira's strategy is basically that, right? So Mira published a research they did internally 3 weeks ago, showing that their model, or an open weight model, fine-tuned on, I believe it was Citadel, right? I might be wrong, but it was Citadel, right? So they published a research with Citadel where the models that they fine-tuned was way better than Opus and Fable and like all the other models.
Yeah.
By just fine-tuning.
Right.
Like nothing else, just them fine-tuning it. And so they were laying the groundworks to now releasing a model that is not frontier, but the model sits on two big trends. Number one trend, enterprises want to own their data and own a model they control, right? And Marathi has already shown a few weeks ago that with one of the biggest companies in America, Citadel, that they were able to use a lesser model with their own proprietary data and get it better than Fable.
Right.
So this week she releases this model that is not like frontier, but optimized for fine-tuning. And they are a fine-tuning company because their first product was Tinker. And Tinker is basically a fine-tuning product where you can kind of like put any model in and fine-tune it. So it looks like she's riding a very big wave. And the biggest corporates in America and Europe right now are kind of like listening, and they want to own their data, and so she's in good business. Okay. And then, I'll just run through Kimi. Kimi again is, right now. I think did I talk about Kimi already? I don't think I did. Did I? I think I did. I think we can move to the next.
I mentioned it. Well, okay. Maybe I was gone.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I don't think I have. I think we've kind of used a lot of time, but I think everybody here has been following like the trends on Kimi. Kimi right now is, probably this is better than DeepSeek moment. Because for a while, like that's like the news was like the Chinese guys are distilling open, like American models, and like their models will always be behind. Right. And for the first time, the model is, I was watching Theo's the YouTuber. I was watching his like review, and Theo is typically very kind of like it's like a strong critic of most things, but he actually did like Kimi 3. Like he's been using it, and he's like, he actually had a benchmark where he said the model performed better than even Fable. Like it's like it did like 100 and something tasks nonstop. And this model is priced at Terra. It's priced at GPT 5.6 Terra. It's the most expensive open weight model out there right now if you use the API. It's priced at Terra. And man, some of the influencers are saying it is on par with Fable or better than Fable. So guys, this is a crazy moment. But that's it for me, Andy, on the news this week.
No, that's great. I think it's $3 per million tokens in, 15 per million tokens out. Yeah. That's and manual red teaming. With GPT-RED, and their chain of thought detection, and yeah, it's been a big week. And GPT 5.6 and Grok 4.5 are barely a week old, and they're already boring.
They've already moved on. It's crazy. Another crazy thing I should mention was that, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet, but there was a tweet where someone said, someone was asking how long it would take for the open weights models to have a Fable like alternative or Fable like model. And Elon said it was gonna be Q1 next year. And then the Kimi founder said it's gonna be earlier than that. Did you guys see that? Did you see that tweet? You didn't see that tweet?
No.
It was a
awesome
tweet. So Elon was like Q1 next year, and then the guy was like, it's gonna be earlier than that, and then the guy drops the model like in Q3, which is literally like 2 months or like a month after that conversation. It's like literally a month after that conversation. That is Fable.
That's wild. See you later, Hannes.
Love it.
Hannes has to jump. We'll see you later, buddy. That's wild. That's wild. Well, look, I want to tell you about the day 2 video, the keynote from the AI Engineers World Fair. Can I get a show of hands in the side chat if we have 7 or 8 minutes to run through this video? I think there's some really interesting stuff in here, but I'm cognizant that we're already at the end of our scheduled segment. If everyone wants to hear it, I got 1 thumbs up.
But we've got to do the Vorflux as well, right? Maybe put it short so we can do Vorflux as well, right? Remember, yeah.
Why don't we? Yeah, I love these thumbs up. Let's do the builder demo. Introduce Haritha. We can do the hot takes. Haritha, thank you for joining us. Oh, she's muted.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
I heard you doing me, yeah?
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I was like switching between the 2 screens.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, great to be here, guys.
So let's just say we're excited to see what Vorflux is doing. We've got all my transitions were coming off of that keynote, so I apologize. I'm just scanning for. So
yeah,
we've got who's going to run the outer loop is the question that comes out of the keynote from AI Engineer, and the outer loop is our interface, with the factory, if you will, the software factory. And it's going to be someone's whole company. Vorflux came out of stealth this week. Rippling's co-founder, 15 million from Y Combinator. Coding agents on cloud machines running the whole life cycle. And the tagline is literally stop babysitting your clients or your agents. We've got 2 treats here. Henry's been hands-on, and he's going to show you. And then Haritha from Vorflux is here to take your questions. Henry, are we playing the video? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, I can play the video. Let me play the video, actually.
Yeah.
Let me play the video, and then we can kind of like do the thing.
Yeah.
I'm streaming, so I don't know if you guys...
smarter than any human now.
Can you hear the video?
We got it. Yeah.
Every release, models run longer on their...
Hold on, let me make sure it's not on 2x, because I typically watch my videos on 2x. No, it's not.
Yet engineers stay in the loop, chained to their machine. Why? Because cloud agents today run blind. They can't run or test your app, so you pull every branch back to localhost. Our core thesis is to profile where human time still goes and throw tokens at each bottleneck until it's gone. Let's run through each one. Bottleneck 1 is the machine. A real app has many services running at once, and nobody can easily bring all that up. So you're stuck on localhost. We spin up a raw EC2 box, and a swarm of agents does the setup, like a developer would set up his dev box on day 1. It's multi-repo. Front-end, back-end, mobile, all are edited and run in one session. It asks for the secret it needs, solves auth, seeds data, and connects hundreds of native integrations. Then it snapshots the machine with live running processes, so new sessions fork from it ready to go. Once the machine is set up, let's try an ambitious session. Throw very high-level tasks at it, something you would assign a good senior software engineer. You can configure your own harness of sub-agents and models to work together across the software development lifecycle. 5 bottlenecks live inside that life cycle. Let's explore them with a real example. Giga is one of my top customers. YC company raised $60 million, only have 6 engineers, and believe in token maxing over people maxing. Isha, the CTO of Giga, loves Vorflux and wants to roll it out to all of his customers. To do that, he needs Vorflux APIs in ACP format. He asked me at 2 a.m. and I asked Vorflux to explore what it takes. At 3 a.m., I tell him, started a new Vorflux session on ACP. Hope by tomorrow a.m. it should be ready, we'll see. And his isn't the only request tonight. I tag my whole linear backlog. Every ticket runs on its own machine while I sleep. That's what the cloud buys you. Bottleneck 2 is planning, where engineers burn most of their day. So this is where we throw the most tokens. You can see I keep the prompt very high level. Just 2 links. I don't even know what ACP is. I still don't. But Vorflux figured it out.
That's so funny.
A planner subagent, Opus 4.8, drafts the plan. A reviewer, GPT 5.5, critiques it. It presents a plan, more like a plan of plans. I add a couple of requirements. Keep ACP separate and add it to the Vorflux docs page. It breaks the task into 7 plans, a layer of abstraction above what Claude Code generates. I approve it. When a task has a front end, a design tool in planning fixes the look before any code is written. Bottleneck 3 is orchestration, landing many small tasks into one. It runs for 64 minutes to build it. The main agent spawned 8 different subagents: building, judging, reviewing, verifying. Nobody cleans up after the model with /simplify or /review. It lives in the harness. The sub-plans all get built in parallel, so you work in big chunks. Bottleneck 4 is testing. If you still pull to localhost to test, cloud agents are useless. Vorflux brings the app up and tests it end-to-end in a browser, proving it works. I clear testing by watching a video. Not just web either. Vorflux runs native iPhone and Android emulator in the cloud to test. Almost nobody does this. A browser view sits on the box. Something's off, I drop a comment, it's fixed. Every machine gets a hosted URL for colleagues to test. Nobody waits on staging. Bottleneck 5, review. I live by the beach these days and spend the mornings taking a walk and coding on my phone. I check on the feature we launched for Giga and it's built an 8,000 line diff. It's hard to review and consume. So we built an AI native code reviewer. The diff looks reasonable to me. I can approve and merge it to master. Last bottleneck, the merge. Other sessions landed work all night. The merge queue resolves the conflicts and lands everything. Nobody rebases. I just say enable this feature flag for Giga. Vorflux has access to our Postgres, Kubernetes, and all of that stuff. I now move over to Slack and message Isha that it's done. Human time is the bottleneck. Tokens are not. Through our Codex partnership, you can bring your own subscription and run heavily subsidized. I want every one of you to token max with me. Drop your biggest engineering bottleneck in the comments. We'll give you $200 in free credits to attack it with Vorflux. Come, live in the frontier with me.
That was awesome.
All right. Excellent. That's excellent. So we don't...
Because I'm sharing my screen, so maybe... guys, does anybody have a question? And then Haritha is here to kind of like answer. If not, then Andy, me and you can throw 1 or 2 things at her. Haritha, do you want to say anything else generally? I don't know if you introduced her as a co-founder or CTO, but maybe one question I would have to get started is, how did you guys end up with this idea? This is a great idea. I've been trying to build my own code factory for the last 4 months, and me and Andy have talked about it. We're trying to be like Peter. Peter has some of those things going on in a slightly more complex way. So I feel like you guys have productized it. You've made it easy. How did the idea come up?
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting because we pivoted from something different. So essentially, so I was working at Databricks before this, and I worked at Rubrik before that, and so on. So I've kind of worked in somewhat larger companies in a sense. And there, a common problem all teams face is basically like production outages and stuff, right? So it's like I was in the database infra team at Databricks, and we used to get like page left and right like all day because, you know, at that scale, like you just have to deal with it. So we started building a production management system in a sense. So it's for kind of like, you know, AI for on-call kind of thing. And we started like building it, and me and my other co-founder actually, like, so there are 3 co-founders in total, me, Anant, and Prasanna. And we are both from Databricks, and we like kind of like, you know, resigned, started off, and like started building stuff. We went to Prasanna as a customer, right? Like he's running a company, and we kind of like went there, and he tried it out, like the product for his company, and he kind of like liked it. And then we worked together for a couple of weeks, and this is around the time Opus 4.5 dropped actually. So it was kind of like we realized, oh, there's like a huge step shift now, and you probably don't need to build something specific for like production. You know, it's like everything's gonna converge. But the learnings we had at that point were still valid and everything, right? Like, which is that the raw intelligence of models is huge, but you kind of need to like actually, like, I mean, there's a reason you use harness, right? You have to harness it and actually make it work for your case. So we kind of like realized that, and we started like working together and pivoted into this. So yeah, that's like the backstory.
That's a crazy founder story. I've not heard that one. It's like your customer becomes your co-founder. Oh.
Yeah.
Andy, are there any questions in the chat? Does anybody have any questions? And Haritha?
No, there's crickets from the chat. I just have some, I don't know, high level questions like, does the architecture favor any particular deployment type, any type of app, any obviously not language, right? The models know all the languages, but
yeah,
is the architecture designed for a particular DevOps or anything? What are the I don't want to call them limitations, but what were the design specifications around what projects that our audience might be building are a good match?
So we actually try to build something that just works for anyone, right? So we try to figure out what is the best execution environment, like, because you want to run stuff on the cloud, like we all know that you don't want to keep running stuff locally.
Yes.
But how do you build something that just works for everyone? So a lot of the sandbox providers today actually use micro VMs, which are cool, and they're like super fast and comes up and all that. But sometimes like if you have a complex like Docker kind of like setup and stuff, like for instance, like we use like a microservice architecture, and we bring up K3D to kind of like bring up like a few of them for local testing and stuff. I could never get it working on a micro VM because of like architectural limitations. So even though it's like super fast for normal use cases, it may not like work for you. But then we thought, why are we looking for like a faster solution, right? Because essentially you're trying to run stuff on.
Henry, did you? So, yeah, hang on just a second. Henry, did you lose your screen share? Okay, let's try that again. Yeah, I think they caught all that. It just slipped off a second ago.
Got it. Yeah.
That's really interesting. The thing that caught me was the mobile emulators, right? It's going to run your code base on. And those are all in the cloud as well?
Yeah, everything is in the cloud. So basically, we just spun up a EC2 instance actually, because we know that at the end of the day, you can just like take a EC2 instance and put anything you want on it and get it to work. The only exception was iOS apps, I guess. Like, it's just not easy for like anyone to kind of build it. So we built some like infra like specifically for iOS. But other than that, like we just like have a raw instance. You can probably just do anything.
Very powerful. Very exciting. We've got one question from the side chat. Go ahead, Henry.
Good. No. Take that. That's more important.
Yeah. So, Data Torment from the Discord asks, how are you able to push through the challenges, and what have you learned that you would think on how much of a turnaround that you've had? What contributed to your success aside from what you shared?
I think I think the team we had is kind of like really awesome actually. So first, like the three founders like work really well together, and we have like kind of like different backgrounds which kind of like work together. So for instance, like I've come from like big companies in a sense, right? So kind of like I'll probably have like the right way to do things, the security conscious kind of stuff. For instance, Prasanna has the other side, which is like how to kind of like do things from a startup perspective, and that balance I think was critical in making sure that you had like a fully working product in like 5 months, right? Because we started with this in January, and I think the product is like pretty advanced for the amount of time like we've been building it. And of course, like there were a lot of challenges, right? Like as in you're competing against like Cloud Code or Codex, which essentially like has like like millions of users and stuff. So it is definitely like a challenge. But what we have realized is it's like with AI, you can move faster. So it's like Vorflux is built on Vorflux. So it's like we hit an issue, we kind of like go in and iterate on it and fix it. In fact, all the bottlenecks we talked about, right? Like for instance, the merge queue stuff. It's something you learn only by actually facing that issue. Like it's not a problem we had like 5 months back when we just started like building Vorflux. But then when I have like a kind of like a 7-member team who are like creating like 60, 70 PRs a day, it becomes a thing. So these problems you only like kind of like learn through. So even the whole product is like built by like learning. Even for PR reviews, right? Like our agent actually does really good PR reviews, and we kind of like got that working because initially like we had trouble, like we merged PRs without reviews, and then it caused trouble. So then, in fact, we launched a feature yesterday called risk assessment based merge. So it's kind of like simple stuff like you want to merge, but for complex stuff you want a review. So like we realized that only from like personal experience, and then we fix it. So it's kind of like a iterative thing, I guess.
Oh.
I hope that answers your question, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good answer. So again, I've been, so just like a final comment. I don't know how many people in the audience are playing with this. I am not an engineer. I mean, I was an engineer like 15 years ago, right? But I'm a business guy. I've been a business guy for the last 10 years. And so with like vibe coding and the last few months, I'm building an entity. I've just been really trying to stop myself from being in front of the PC and just like pushing like, hey, do this, stop that. I just want to load 500 tickets and just like go away for a couple of days and just come back and it's all done, right? And so I've been like working on this problem, and so Vorflux was like incredible. When I saw it, I was like, that video is exactly what I was looking for. And I loaded up 139 tickets 2 days ago. And it's still churning through it. That's one of the bugs I said I'll reach out to you because they would stop at some point, and then because I gave my open core agents the
Henry.
API access, and then it has a cron jobs. It's like checking on it as well.
Henry,
yeah, for me, this
Discord.
is all right. But Haritha, I mean, that was a comment. I don't have any questions. I think it's I really love the product so far. Thank you so much.
And we'll get to the bottom of like whatever you're facing and fix it. Yeah.
Yes, I will reach out. And did you have any final thoughts before we let Haritha off the stage?
No. I'm looking forward to digging a little deeper, and if you don't mind, we'll probably reach out. And I don't know if we do a follow up or we just report on the results. But very exciting
for you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Andy, they're a very responsive team because when I tweeted and then like and Prasan, because I tweeted about it because it was a problem, and then he responded, and I texted him. And I was like, hey, this is super cool, like, because I signed on there was a problem. And he quickly put me on Slack and put his team on it, and then they fixed my problem. So it's like, love it. Love it.
Yeah, that's great.
Having a lot of fun during launch, like, a lot of data for us to kind of like learn from also.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Thank you so much, Haritha, for coming on. Hopefully people in the audience will use the product, and this will be a good sort of like outing as well for you guys. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So guys, I sort of like mistakenly ended the show, and then Andy's back on, and then Andy's stuff works now. What?
It's too much. I don't even know.
Oh, anyway, Andy, I think we've run out of time, but like, let's know how many minutes guys still want to stay on the show. Let's pick the last thing we want to do and just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We've got hot takes. We've got a, World Fair 2026 keynote. We've got this. the closer. Like,
Yeah.
I think we could probably just stick a fork in it at this point. The fact that everyone can hear us is the miracle.
Again, apologies, guys. This was one of a hell of a show, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. Well, here's what I'll do. I think we should wrap up the show. We're going to test this stuff better and come up with a better solution for you for next week and future episodes. Thank you so much for sticking with us. These 2 episodes, Take 1 and 2, were brought to you by Herald Labs and Heritage Telecom. Heritage Telecom provides trusted phone systems from trusted people. Heritage designs and supports the whole communication stack for your business, dependable phones, failover, reporting, and practical AI that turns calls into action. One accountable provider who actually answers. So start with the problem, not the product list, at heritagetel.com. Keep an eye open on Kimi K3. The weights are going to go open. We got a frontier model becoming a download. So let's watch who runs it and where and what it does to API pricing. Expect a scramble. I wonder if we're going to see some regulatory action. That'll be really interesting. And then second, the outer loop is turning into a product category. Peter says in the video that we didn't review that the future is better loops. OpenClaw is shipping loop primitives. Cursor is selling automations. Vorflux raised money on it. YC companies are hiring for it. Somebody's going to ship the outer loop dashboard, the one screen where you watch 10 agents grind and decide where your attention goes. And whoever nails that probably wins big. I bet we're talking about a launch like that within a month. So everything from today, including some content that isn't out yet, hasn't quite been recorded, but will be up. Sources, links, the full event list will be at weeklyclaw.ai. Last week's episode is up there. Highlights are going to go on YouTube. Clips and takes on X. So we're back next Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We will try to be more technologically prepared. We're just trying to do better, and it was a retrograde action, I think, Henry.
Yeah. No, I mean, Andy, there's nothing you did wrong, right? I mean, we started the show, you couldn't join. I mistakenly ended the show, and then you can join. It's literally it wasn't a settings issue. It's just like a freak. It's like a freak moment.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, guys, we're gonna add a sign-up form. So, like I mentioned, again, I'll say it again. Andy, you weren't here, so I was just saying to the guys as well. We were able to acquire some of the assets of the guy who have the weekly clause like branding. So we own the weeklyclaw.com. We have a newsletter with a couple of thousand people. We've got the X account as well. We set those up before the next show. We would add a sign-up form on the website. So just like take a look during the week and it's like put your email in. And what we will do is we will send the slides for today's show to your emails, right? So, but again, we will do that going forward, right? So every single show when it's done, we'll put it in the newsletter and then we'll mail it to you so you can have a copy. But we will also publish it on the website as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Well,
all right.
Thanks everyone. We really appreciate it. We're gonna probably end the stage here, and maybe I'll read through the video review so you can have it when we do when you see it on the website. So
right, cool,
awesome.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh my gosh.
So Andy, I think you can do it here, like so it can be on the thing. So we can do the whole
with you?
thing we didn't do. So we.
Oh, you want to do the 2 takes as well?
Yeah, do everything here. Do you have time?
Let's do it. Yeah, I probably got 20 minutes, which is about what we're looking for.
Yeah, let's do everything here, and then because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this ended up being a bit of a shit show of a video because now there's so many things that need to be caught. I don't know if I can do it, but let's see if we could. But then if we do this, then we can cut and put it together, and then in YouTube we can cut out all the mess, and then the YouTube guys just get a straight session. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
good.
Go ahead.
All right. So today's video, the AI Engineer World's Fair 2026 Day 2 keynote. It's an hour and 27 minutes long. I want to walk you through it. I think you'll be chewing on it for a while, especially if you spend any time building with or on top of OpenClaw, which I know speaks to a lot of us. This is the Day 2 main stage keynote from AI Engineer World Fair 2026. Just ran in San Francisco, end of June. The event pulled 6,000 engineers into Moscone West, and Day 2 was specifically themed about what they called software factories. The idea that agentic development has matured to the point where we're not just agents and we're not just using agents anymore, we're building the systems that run them. The video is up on the AI Engineer YouTube channel, and it's about an hour and a half, like I said. So I've been through it. I want to tell you what happened. The morning opens with Swix, co-founder of AI Engineer, kicking things off with a talk he called Loopcraft, the art of stacking loops. And Swix doesn't waste any time getting to the point. He sketches out the 3-year arc from chat to tools to goals, and then says flat out, these days we're all about automations. We're all about cron jobs and loops. That's the frame for the whole day, Day 2. From there, you get a Microsoft presentation on something they call Foundry, their AI app and agent factory. Their point is that a learning loop happens when humans and agents work together, which feels like a gentle corporate framing of something much weirder and more interesting. Microsoft's not the main event here, but it's a useful baseline. Then OpenAI takes the stage. Romain Hoot, I practiced this name, but that was 2 hours ago. And Alexander Ambirikos are up, and they lead with Codex. Hoot has a line that stuck with me. Software ate the world, and then AI ate software, but now what we're here to say is that the AI engineers are eating the world. It's a pretty bold thing to say in a room full of AI engineers. Ambirikos then makes the practical case for multi-agent loops, connecting the agent not just what it needs to build, but to why, and closing the loop back through review and deploy. That's how you get agents to actually land work rather than just generate it. And then Peter Steinberger walks up. For this audience, that's the moment. The Clawfather has arrived. OpenClaw's creator, now at OpenAI, driving what Altman called the next generation of personal agents. And he does something really clarifying for anyone wrestling with how to structure agentic workflows. Steinberger says, the agent runs the inner execution loop. He says, I set the direction and I make decisions in the outer loop. And that's it. It's the whole thing. It's a concept or an orientation. He's not building a different kind of agent or inventing a new framework. He's talking about his own day-to-day. The challenge that keeps him busy now isn't writing code, it's deciding what to pay attention to. And his prescription for the future is just better loops. Not more powerful models, not more tools, better loops for managing where human attention goes. The way he frames it, the inner loop is where the agents grind, executing, iterating, running tests, and opening PRs. The outer loop is where the engineer lives, setting direction, reviewing what matters, killing sessions that went sideways, and other human work, if you will. What Steinberger is describing is basically how OpenClaw users already work, at least the ones that are doing it well. But hearing a person who built the tool say, this is how I use it, carries a little bit of weight. After Steinberger, the day pivots into what software factories actually mean in practice. Teresa Tishkova from Factory gives the clearest definition I've heard. A software factory is the whole loop, the whole life cycle of developing software with autonomy. Not just code generation, but collecting signals, reacting to feedback and logs, prioritizing, orchestrating all of it. Zach Lloyd from Warp is more pointed. He says, software engineering will become factory engineering. You stop building the product directly and start building the thing that builds the product. There's a moment later where that gets pushed back on. Charlie Holtz, CEO of Conductor, says, I don't want the future to be built around factories. I want to feel like a human. I want to be in the flow. I want to be in front of an orchestra waving my baton. That tension, factory versus orchestra, runs through the whole event, and nobody resolves it. Jeffrey Huntley, who created the Ralph loop, probably frames it best. Loops are frontier thinking, and we're kind of like locomotive engineers now. That's our job, to keep the locomotive on the rails. Dex Horthy from Human Layer pushes back further and says the hype is outrunning the discipline. Kubernetes is built on control loops too, but they're deterministic. AI loops are not, and we're pretending that they are. There's also a thread on skills that maps directly to what this community is building. Gary Tan closes out with something that felt almost like a call to action. The AI native companies I see inside YC encode all of these things as skills, written procedures that their agents execute, and they hire engineers whose job it is to maintain those skills, to do the work the skills can't yet do. That's not a hypothetical future. He's talking about companies running on this right now. Matt Pocock drops the counter note. He warns about skills hell, comparable to frameworks hell. Write fewer skills, write smaller skills, put more thought into structure. And one attendee, Tyler Brown, posted something during the event worth quoting. Autonomy without structure creates as much slop as leverage. So why does this matter for the OpenClaw community specifically? Everything Steinberger described, the inner and outer loop structure, the attention problem, the bet on better loops over smarter models, it's essentially a roadmap for how power users and contributors should be thinking about the harness that surrounds OpenClaw and that OpenClaw runs in, and the way they use the harness and all the tools. The skills architecture, your agents.md workflow, or Claude.md, depending on what you're using, the way sessions get managed and killed, those are your outer loop tools. And what the World's Fair made clear is that the whole industry is now converging on exactly that problem. It's why a product like Vorflux walks out of stealth with $15 million this week. And we happen to have Vorflux on the show, which you've just seen. The people who figure out how to stack loops well, how to design the outer loop so human attention goes to the right place, are the ones who are going to build things that matter. So that's the video. Highly recommend the full keynote on the AI Engineer channel. If you want Peter's section in full, it's insightful, and we'll link to it.
Well done, Andy. That was a good one. I mean, I watched some of it. I watched two of the ones you mentioned, and I will go back and watch quite a few of them. Peter had a smart way of doing it. He had his agent find every session and then cross match it to the interest he would have, and then download those ones and pull the transcripts. I did send it to my head of engineering in one of my companies to do the same thing. I didn't end up doing it myself, but I did watch the OpenAI one and Steinberger's one. That was a good one. I did watch Pocock's one as well, Matt's. Matt's I did watch specially because Matt's skills grew me. Is actually one of my first skills in my own coding factory. You know, it's like before I found Vorflux, I got into a level of success and doing my own code factory, and the start of it is to use Matt's grew me a skill and write a very detailed spec and then give it to an agent session. So I think it was a good one. Thank you for sharing with us.
Good. Yeah, you're very welcome. Apparently I missed some of my slides here.
That's all right.
Well, the next segment is our hot takes debate. This is hard because, as it was last week, Henry, you and I are of like mind on some of these topics, but let's see what we can come up with.
Let's do it.
So, take one: software engineering will become factory engineering. I think it's right, and most people watching are a year behind. And here's the case. Cursor automations, OpenClaw's event-driven cron, YC companies hiring engineers whose whole job is maintaining skills. The market's not debating this. It's paying salaries for it, and the people saying, I want to be in front of an orchestra waving my baton. I get it. It feels human. So did hand assembly before the production line. My prediction is that within a year, job postings saying agent operations engineer will be norm. Nobody's going to blink. Are you
Oh,
closer
wow.
to Holtz? Are you closer to Holtz on this, or did I reverse it on you?
No, you didn't. You didn't. You didn't. I think we are. No, I think we're the same, right? I mean, we're supposed to sort of like argue it and like take opposite places. But I mean, obviously, I can still man the other side, right? So I'm definitely on the side of because I mean, at Curacao, which is kind of like my company's I'm CEO of Curacao. We haven't had to let go of any engineer yet, right? Like all the engineers are there, but I've kind of like been saying to them their job is no longer just like on their ops. Their job is sort of like zoom out, put the thing in, make sure you build. I mean, because OpenAI wrote an article about this called harness engineering, right, a couple of months ago. And the core idea in harness engineering is the job of engineer is going from writing code to building the harness that writes the code, right? And so this is one of the things I've encouraged. So I do agree with you. But if I steal on the other side, I think that, in the age of AI, there's this sort of like, I am very passionate about this AI being sort of like a force of good, a net positive. I hate all the like ideologies out there about how it's going to kill, like the dooming is not true, right? Because if there's one thing that we've seen with technology is that we make the future we want to see. This is typically what happens, right? If we get ahead of it and we make what we want to see, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that it's happening where there are more and more people. For instance, in the open source community, we talked a little bit about Thinkers Lab and Jensen and Karp and Satya, and these guys like driving things in a setting direction. I think there's a movement where people have also woken up and said, hey, listen, we're not victims to this AI thing. Like AI should be for us. It should be helping us be better humans, helping us be humans, like not replacing us and all that. So for me, in the beginning of the year, I kind of like had this big psychosis. I was going to do everything with agents. And at some point, I was happy that I didn't think like that anymore. I was happy to kind of like have humans in there, but then have agents make humans better, right? So I think that the people who are saying, hey, we don't want to take engineers out of this flow, we want engineers to be in the flow, the point they're making is we can design a world where it is a factory and it's like run agents, or we could design a different one where humans are inside there, right? And like, so I get their perspective, and so I think there is a future where because you could go away where we become bad actors, it's all about money and like we eliminate roles and make people lose their jobs, or we could kind of like be like, hey, listen, what is the AI for? The AI is to make like humans better, like so how do we design this future in such a way that engineers get to do work? Even though, yes, like we could like automate the whole thing, but no, let's design the future in such a way that we take the things they don't want to do and leave the things they want to do, right? So I grok it. I was in an event, I was in a YC event yesterday, and I was kind of like showing, I was actually quite surprised how surprised people were by kind of like the things that I was doing with agents. Again, these are founders and like their peak. So I expect them, so not a lot of them are using OpenClaw at power user level as I expect them to be using it. But one actually was a bit freaked out when I showed him like a process I had where the agents would pull every message anybody sends to me, review it, and write a draft that I could like respond to. And then he's kind of like super worried. He was like, but like, do humans want to talk to humans, or do like humans want to talk to like agents? But I'm like, but that's not a human and an agent, like, because I have to review that and approve it, and like it did it. So that's like me and the agent and so on. So I get it. There's this worry out there where people just want to make sure that humans are still in the loop. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see it. Horthy's point, Kubernetes loops are deterministic, ours aren't. But it's getting to the point where they're not deterministic by definition, but they're being pretty consistent. It's hard to believe. Yeah.
They're not dumb, right? Like, because I mean,
Right.
why do you want human beings aren't deterministic? Like, what are you talking about? Like, a human being is not deterministic.
Yeah. Ask any judge.
So when I read that as well, I was kind of like, okay, cool. What's the point? Like, are you saying like it must be deterministic? Like, is it? I guess it's a safety thing, it's a risk management thing. I know what I'm getting all the time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's it. Well, take two. Skills are the new technical debt. Gary Tan says AI native companies encode everything as skills. Pocock says we're 18 months from skills hell. I think they're both right, and that's the problem. Every skill you write today is a document you're committing to maintain forever against models that change monthly. Tyler Brown put the whole debate into one sentence. Autonomy without structure creates as much slop as it does leverage.
Yes.
So here's the question for you, Henry. What's your skill count right now, and how many of those would survive an honest audit?
Dude, it's okay, let me say something, right? I don't know if you read this article, but there was an article yesterday that I thought was exclusive. I don't know if I can find it and send it to you. This article was kind of like, you know, when the railway came out, right? There was a job explosion, not even just in making the railways or making the trains, but there was so many accidents, like trains colliding, that you needed to invent like a whole level of managers just to keep things in check.
Yeah.
So that article is talking about how like the idea of managers. I know it wasn't invented there, but like a kind of managers was just invented to just keep trains from like colliding and things to stay stable. And I liken it to the skill how you're talking about, because if you're like a 200,000 people company, and you know you've got a skill repo and like you want to kind of like share skills, you're obviously going to do what Gary is saying YC companies are doing, which is you're going to hire people that their job is maintaining skills. Are you not?
Yeah.
Right? You are.
Yeah.
So my skill count, it's a tough one, right? So when I was using exclusively OpenClaw agents, I was probably hitting like 300, 400 skills. And the reason it's tough, right, is because like OpenClaw has a skill cap. It technically doesn't have a skill cap, but there's a cap in the skill registry that gets ingested into context. So when you have too many skills, it starts truncating the head registry. So even though you have all those skills, the agent isn't seeing those skills, right? And so it's like 2-3 months ago, one of the hacks I did was I started compressing the description. So the agent head registry is, I don't remember the number of characters, but it's a number of characters. And so I started hacking it by making the names of the skills smaller and the description of the skills so it can fit in more skills, right? So this is where I kind of got to.
Right.
And so at that I had, but then I have Hermes now as well. I have a bunch of Hermes agents, and you know Hermes agents just create skills. It's because they have the self-learning things, just keeps making skills. It's just a nightmare, right? Because it keeps making like obscene number of skills. Like it can do the same task and make like 2 different skills again, you know? Even though they try to solve that by building something called Conductor or something like that goes through every single skill and prunes it, goes through your skill list and prunes the ones you're not using and so on. I haven't looked under the hood to see how well it works. But I would say I have a shit ton of skills, sir. I don't know. At this point, I've lost track. I can't maintain them because I'm busy trying to do so many things. So it's I do agree it's hell at this point.
Yeah. I had to ask Max, when I first started using OpenClaw, I was having Max write skills constantly. I never really used any of the skill libraries. All the skills were created.
You were making yours.
I was making my own. And they were things like, you know, Max, here's the URL for the API documentation for this proprietary system that we use. Create a skill so that you can use it reliably and learn and, you know, what have you. And then I went back later and looked at some of them, and I was like horrified.
It was so bad. You didn't review them back then?
It was so bad.
Because no one reviews the skills. I've never reviewed a skill. It was like curl. Like what? It was a complete jury rig. Every skill I had written, like that would use the Trello API or the NetSapiens API. It basically used curl, and so it was like an extensive block of code for every single thing. So at one point, I gave it a task, and I said, I need you to go through all of these skills and write deterministic scripts
that are basically CLIs that self-document and minimize the crap out of these skills. These skills were huge. If you called them, it took
Your whole
50,000
context window
tokens.
just like fill up.
Yeah. And so now most of the skills that I wrote at that time are now deterministic scripts that are basically CLIs,
Right.
and they work a lot better, and they're easier for the tool to know how to use, and that's a great improvement. But it looks like I have 62 unique skills installed on my OpenClaw.
I have way more than that now. It's ridiculous. One thing else I was going to add is, I think I don't remember who said it, but I think it was Tyler. That every single skill you add is you have to commit to maintaining it. One thing I do whenever there's a new model launch, I think there's this thing, there's a line you read out that like the skills, you make skills that you have to maintain forever, but the models change every month. And so here's why this is important to anybody who listens to this, is because every single model generation is different. It behaves differently, right? Skills might be reading for 5.5 and they will not work well in 5.6. As a matter of fact, I have a friend who's also a part of the community who's very paired, and he has told me he's benchmarked this, Andy. 5.6 with his skills performs badly compared to 5.5. So what he's had to do was remove a lot of skills. By removing a lot of skills, his 5.5 actually performs a lot better, right? So one of the things I do each time there's a new model launch, I'm not always consistent, but I try, is I have my agent, the new model, go through the whole memory, Soul MD, tools, agents MD, all this like Hermes MD, whatever, any kind of like harness I'm using, and rewrite the whole thing. So you give it the prompt guide, you say, here's the prompt guide, or find the prompt guide, use the prompt guide and rewrite all our prompt instructions. Because they're all different. Like the 5.5 behaves differently from 5.4, from 5.6. So the skills you use for 5.5 will most likely not perform as well as 5.6, because 5.5 wrote it, and it wrote it the way, that it thinks it would work. So now when 5.6 comes out, you almost need to go look at all those skills again and like audit them and have to rewrite them. Yeah. Yeah.
Interestingly, nobody's rewriting the Linux CLIs that the agents use. So they continue to work. So this just takes me back to the CLIs that I had Max write from all those terrible skills. Like there's probably a way to build tools that's maintainable.
Yes.
By not relying too heavily on the model, right? And that's it just comes back to best practices. That's very interesting.
Thank you for saying this. Like, I need to go do it. I know I've had this a couple of times. I don't think I have. But make as many things as possible very kind of like deterministic script CLI. Take them out of like, Thank you, sir.
I appreciate the MCP, but Peter's MC Porter got me thinking about it. And I was like, I think he's right. Because, all the training data is just filled up with Linux command line. None of that stuff's changed in 30 years.
No.
So it knows how to use those tools really well. Whereas an MCP is like a new protocol that it had to be trained on recently. Whereas, anyway, I thought that was a clever take. And MC Porter made it real for me, and that's why I've gone that way.
Yeah, I need to use that. And so you use MC Porter to like port this MCPs to CLI? Okay. Okay. No, so you use MC Porter to port all yours, like the MCPs you have access to into like CLI?
Yeah, I mean, that's what MC Porter's for. I would do that, yeah. I'm not sure that I've found anything that I really wanted to use the MCP for. I found that so many APIs could be, interacted with directly through a CLI. I've just always gone that way.
Okay.
It's I'm sure I'm missing out.
Anyways, cool. No, all right. So this was a good one.
Yeah.